Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and now let's talk My Hero Academia chapter 153. I'm one day late, apologies, I was really busy yesterday, but let's talk about this chapter now. And I'm just gonna say, like, this was amazing, holy Jesus Christ, man. And this is amazing in a different way than, say, One Piece was amazing this week. This is amazing in the sense of, holy, is that legal? Is that actually legal? Is he allowed to do that? Like, really, the chapter was titled Transformation or Transform with an exclamation mark, and I'm just thinking, like, who's gonna transform? Is it gonna be like Lumillion? Is it gonna be Deku? Like, what do you mean by transform? Like, become better than what you are? I was not expecting the monstrosity that we got at the end of the chapter with Chizaki. That was amazing. That's just like a wow factor. Like, holy man. And you know, also truthfully, the chapter wouldn't be amazing if you didn't have like other parts of the chapter working really well, and there are other parts of the chapter that's working really well. But really, Chizaki, holy man, like, you know, that's just, I never thought that would have been possible. That's just really weird. If anything, the thing that bothers me the most, or like the thing that has me most questioning, is like the timing. How quickly did this all have to work out? Like, to what degree does Chizaki have to remodel things in his brain? Like, it's such an interesting, like, change that happened. Anyway, at this point, like, Chizaki is the most anime type villain we've had in My Hero Academia now. You know, like the villain that turns more and more into a monster that we get in a lot of other anime. Yeah, Chizaki, he's like the most anime villain we've had in that sense right now. Of course, you could also say like All For One is like that, but All For One was All Might's enemy. It's not the same. It's not the same. Chizaki here though looks a lot more monstrous, and it's like, yeah, he's the most anime villain we might ever get in My Hero Academia, and he looks cool. He looks really badass. Like, Jesus Christ. Now, one more thing that's actually really neat is that if you look at Chizaki's mouthpiece on that last page, that was actually sort of foreshadowed before. We got to see this kind of visual with like the breaking mask, I think, on one of the color pages. It's a bit different, but it's cool to have the idea that, you know, this aspect of the design, at least the beak part, might have already been in play for a very long time, and it was just now the authors getting to put it out there. It's really neat. I'm really into it. Overall though, like, Chizaki, let's just talk about that in a bit. You know, we see that the biggest change, other than him looking more monstrous, is the extra arms. And if you look at the arms and even his regular arms, there's a lot of black and whites getting involved, and it's kind of hard to just tell what exactly he's composing those arms of. When he makes the initial destruction, it looks like he only destroyed human bodies. But when you look at the arms, it's a lot more ragged, rugged. It's a lot more solid, a lot more jagged. So my very quick, I guess, assumption here is that he's taking advantage of the minerals in his body, and he must be rearranging bones, right? Because he was able to fuse himself, so he has access to a whole body of bones. And when you look at his arms in particular, it seems like this might just be a combination of bones sticking out of the skin, so giving himself some kind of bone armor, and then just the bones also forming the actual, or like layering over the skin bits for the arms. It's really interesting, but again, like, he's as jagged as Kirishima is, and the only way I could think of him getting that effect, he can't have hard skin. It must be that the bones are right outside, and at least with the claw bits. With the claw bits of the arms, you could definitely argue that's bone. That has to be bone. But for the rest of the arm, just because of how jagged it is, we don't know. It could be hard skin by virtue of the quirk is trying to keep Chizaki together as much as it can, or it's just like the guy remodeled bone and cloth and made these monstrosity of arms. I really want to see what it's going to look like in the anime, because once we see color on this thing, we'll have a much better sense if it's skin or bone. But I really want to think, can he reconstruct skin to make it harder? Because that would be that'd be overpowered. Can he like change a base property of skin? Because we haven't seen him do that so far. He can like repair things, but skin has no state in which it is rock hard like Kirishima. I feel like there's a joke there. But yeah, yeah, I want to think it's bone. He has bone armor. That's what I want to assume. Bone armor, because that would be cool. But yeah, like that image, holy man, that's pretty freaking incredible, man. Yeah, frick, Chizaki, holy. But okay, enough Chizaki train. let's talk about other things. So, you know, the chapter has two distinct halves. It has the flashback and it has the moment everything hits the fan and it's like, holy shit, like, this is pretty good. And even in the flashback's really good. It's the slower part of the chapter, but there's a few things of value here. First off, we have the police being involved. Now, the police presence is of absolute importance when it comes to My Hero Academia's world building. They are one of the factors in My Hero Academia's world that makes this world a bit more special than the usual. Another one of the factors are the parents that are involved in this, but the police, their presence is of absolute importance. And I like that the police are competent enough that you can give them simple instructions and you can trust them to some degree to be able to carry out some operations. And for this chapter, the climax is like, okay, the police will deal with the possibility of the villain alliance or the League of Villains, whatever. They're going to deal with that possibility. The heroes go after the girl that they came in for. I really like that. I like that the police are given that kind of significance, even if we don't see them. That significance is important because we know that heroes and the Justice Department, those two entities, those two bodies are intermingled in the My Hero Academia world, and both have their importance. Specifically, this is more important now because we have a scenario where Mirio has lost his quirk, so now he is going to be fighting in a different playing field unless he ever gets it repaired in the future. But again, the police being there and saying that they're going to be the ones who are going to try and deal with the possibility of the villain league being there, that's good. Also, the thought process throughout that whole thing, people rationalizing there's only two of them there and then just trying to figure out, and like just the general chaos for that initial moment, you know, pretty good stuff. The other person in that flashback, Rocklock, I didn't expect this out of him. Like, this was actually really good. I liked how he took action. I like, okay, guys, I'll stay here and watch this. I can't be running around anymore, but you guys go do your job. I like that. I really like that. I like this justification for why he was so hard on those kids. That being, he has a wife. She's 4 years younger. Now they just had a kid. And he's in a really happy place. And like, so his bias as a parent was getting involved when he was seeing these kids. But now, like, these kids are showing, like, hey, they have what it takes to have the mettle of a professional hero. So that was just really interesting. I like that he's a minor character, but I like that he's given this significance. We only needed a page for it, and this is like the best use of that. Very much enjoyed it. And the thing is, it's even better because this guy pushed the plot along. Anyone who is pushing the plot along is a good person. That's just by virtue of how it works. Or not good person, but is valued in terms of the narrative. Anytime there is a character who is stopping the characters from just like talking and just saying like, go, that person is the best person for any person who wants to see a story progress. Anyway, moving on. Rocklock, he just really left an impression on me. Other part of that flashback is Toga and Twice. I really like where they're going, and I have to assume that if Toga wants to make Chizaki cry, it has to be killing the old boss. Like, how brutal will that be? Or even, you know what would be even worse? If Toga takes the guy's blood, turns into the old boss, plays mind games with Chizaki, and then like turns back into herself and says, nope, we killed him. Man, oh man, like Toga has the capacity for some dark stuff here. And I really just think that she could really wreck with Chizaki. Now, if you follow the channel, you know I put up a video about Chizaki and Shigaraki. Chizaki falling under Shigaraki's fag. And, you know, I don't know how this would work. I don't know if it's like... I think if Toga goes through with this and breaks Chizaki to that point, I don't think he'd be very into the idea of teaming up with Shigaraki after the fact, but it really depends on how Toga wants to do this. She wants to make him cry, right? But then she's saying, like, you know, she's sure Shigaraki's going to be pleased. So, I don't know. I kind of want Chizaki to join Shigaraki, but the way that Toga is sounding, it doesn't seem like she's going to be doing damage that can be fixed by a simple game of shogi. Anyway, moving on. After that, we get into the hardcore, like, yeah, it's a fight sequence here. And so, you know, let's first talk about, there's the one panel where Deku makes his hit. I feel like a 5% punch from Deku should be able to break a lot of bones, but Overhaul has his overhaul quirk, so he probably can repair it regardless. But that initial hit, pretty cool, pretty awesome, good stuff. I really enjoyed it. One thing I do like how the author's taking advantage of Mirio's art style and kind of fading away his eyes to show that he's almost losing consciousness. That's a pretty cool effect. I really enjoy it. Now, one of the things that's like really of import in this segment of the chapter, first off, the little moment with Night Eye and Mirio, just Night Eye recognizing that, yeah, Mirio put in a lot of work, and it looks like Night Eye might be aware of the possibility that Mirio lost his quirk, and that makes that hug that he gives both of the characters in the chapter much more important. Again, like, that's a really powerful moment. But now, like, the nicest thing of this fight is Aizawa's cooperation with Deku. And like, there's a lot that you can say about this, but this is a really nice dynamic that Aizawa and Deku have on a professional level. Mostly because throughout this whole process, you can still see areas where Deku has to improve. Like, think about how often Aizawa has had to stick his neck out for Deku. So, you know, this is a really interesting case where you have an underpowered character in Aizawa and you have a strong character in Deku, whereas Aizawa is more skilled and Deku's still a fledgling. Like, this is a really nice dynamic. And even here, you have like the importance and significance of Aizawa still in play. Like, he's canceling Shizaki's quirk, he's making things a little bit easier for Deku, but on a higher level, Aizawa is the one that's protecting Deku still. So it shows that there's still room to grow for Deku, and it also shows that Aizawa is an irreplaceable existence in this whole plan. And again, seeing a teacher and a student work together as equals, and still seeing that the weaker character can still provide something that the stronger character doesn't have by virtue of experience, this is good teamwork. This is a good way of showing the strengths and weaknesses of people. Again, I really enjoyed this dynamic. This is like, it's pretty much one of the best things about this arc, is just seeing how Deku and Aizawa have been cooperating. Really enjoy it. That said, when Aizawa gets hit by the time slowdown quirk, it was pretty awesome, but it was cooler that he was able to get Deku out of the way. Anyway, that's pretty much all the big points that I really wanted to talk about. Overhaul's losing his sanity. He's going like really far into it. And now the last questions I have about Overhaul are, can Overhaul take a person's quirk if he takes their genetic material? Can he build a second quirk into himself? Would that happen? Secondly, I guess the side effect of his quirk is that he breaks out into these rashes. What's going to happen when he's incorporated a whole different system into his body? Has he given himself more organs? Is there going to be an issue of organ rejection if he's given himself 2 hearts? Or is it just limbs? Did he just take away limbs and tissue and just give himself those extra arms? You know, to what degree has he melded with his former subordinate? That's the big question. Secondly, what happens if Aizawa looks at him? Is he going to lose the ability to move the extra limbs that have been granted to him by his quirk? Like, with Overhaul's weird form, there's a lot of questions of just like, what's going to happen here? But yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I want to see if Shizaki's going to go back to being regular Shizaki after he's beaten, or if he's permanently stuck in this new reconstructed form, or is his quirk on a time limit that he just won't be able to keep up this kind of agglomeration of just 2 people. Like, this is a really interesting situation, because like, there's a lot of problems with this on like, just how is this working, what's keeping this together. But we'll have to see. We'll really have to see what's gonna happen here. Yeah, actually, like, even on the limbs, for him to be able to control those limbs, he's like, yeah, he's grafted nerves into all these different places. For him to be able to move the limbs, he's kind of combined the 2 nervous systems of 2 bodies. Holy, like, what is he doing? Man, yeah, I'm pretty excited to see like how this is gonna work. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Till next time, I hope you have a great day. And if you have any thoughts about Shizaki's fused form, let me know down below. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Till next time.